Hello, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Amber Thompson, and I'm an independent educational consultant located in the greater Los Angeles area. As a consultant, I work one on one with families to help students find colleges that best match their academic, social, and financial needs. My goal is to minimize the stress and emphasize the excitement and possibilities of the college application process. It's always a privilege and an honor to be part of a student's journey. I'm a graduate of Northwestern University, where I received my BA in English and a secondary teaching certificate. I also hold a certificate in independent educational consulting from UC Irvine. I'm a mom of three, including a college senior, a high school senior, and a fifth grader. In today's conversation, I'm going to focus on ways to support your high school student by helping them balance their college goals for the future with the development of authentic interests in the present. In this workshop, I will address what colleges are looking for in their applicants and how you can help your student answer, why college? Along the way, I'll share some tips for reducing the stress of the college application process. I wanted to start with a high-level view. According to a 2020 ranking of what colleges look for in high school students, the top three criteria admissions officers look for when they assess an applicant are rigor and challenge of coursework, high GPA in major subject areas, and passionate involvement in activities. If those are the top three criteria, the natural question is, how can we as parents support our students in achieving those goals from middle school and beyond? One of the best ways, actually, to support a healthy outlook to college is to make sure you don't start the college conversation too soon. Many of our Gen Z kids have been hearing about college since they were in kindergarten. This cultural tendency to talk about college so early has turned college into a decades-long conversation topic, increasing the stress, anxiety, and pressure students feel about the process. It can also minimize the importance of letting students explore activities and options, comprehend their learning styles, and understand that it's okay to change their minds along the way. As I was reading the latest book on the college application process called The College Conversation, I came across this quote that captured the importance of letting students explore various interests. At 13 or 14 years old, students may have already defined themselves, whether as a STEM kid or an arts buff or a jock, or found that they're starting to be labeled as such. We hope you'll encourage them to be open to revising or even rewriting these assumptions. Give them the opportunity to settle in and learn more about themselves without having to know what their next step should be. Understanding of self and needs will grow over time. The college that seemed perfect for a student when they were in ninth grade or perhaps even earlier may not resemble what a 12th grader now identifies as a good fit. Even in 11th and 12th grade, when students are getting a lot more serious about the college search process, students are still figuring out their priorities. And when you have a senior who's in the thick of the college application process, you may watch your student change their mind based on a heightened level of self-reflection and increased opportunities to learn more about colleges. So what can you do at each step of the way to encourage your student to find their passions, get good grades, and seek out coursework that is challenging to them? After all, those are the top three pieces of information that admissions officers are looking for when they assess the student in the college application process. So let's first take a look at middle school, which can be a foundational time to encourage good study habits, organizational skills, and personal responsibility. Those are truly the hallmarks of a successful student at any age, and those skills all take time to develop. Middle school is also the time to encourage your student to explore their extracurricular interests. Let them try out that new activity, sport, class, or club, and see what sparks interest and personal growth. You can also seek to understand the curriculum and opportunities ahead of your student in high school. See if there are any pathways, honors courses, or a defined sequence of coursework that begins in middle school and continues into high school. And this is usually most relevant with math courses. As your student moves into ninth grade, it's still important to encourage exploration during the school year and the summer months. Even if a student participated in an activity in elementary or middle school, and perhaps even invested a significant amount of time, if they are no longer feeling an authentic connection to that activity, it may be time to let it go and let them try something new. And sometimes that process of letting go can be a lot harder for the parent than it is for the student. During the underclassmen years, you need to continuously assess the level of challenge that is right for your individual student. And the operative word here really is your student, because it's important to keep that focus directly on your own individual child. What was best for their older sibling or perhaps a neighbor or a friend might not be right for them. It's also key to focus on getting good grades, while also understanding that colleges are going to be more impressed by students who challenge themselves, even if that means sometimes getting a B instead of an easy A. Colleges can definitely take a look at a transcript and question whether a student who has received straight A's chose the easiest path. And if they were actually opportunities for honors or AP coursework that the student didn't pursue, the college might question why that student did not take up the opportunity to um, check out one of those challenges and see how they did. So it's always important to keep that in mind, that the colleges are really looking to see if your student was offered the challenge and if they then took it. Ninth and 10th grade can also be a great time to start checking out local colleges, which brings me to a great question that a parent asked me. And the question is, what can we do as freshman parents to get the ball rolling? I feel like it'll be time to visit colleges before we know it. And it is essentially, it can be a great time in ninth and 10th grade to get an introductory view to visiting colleges. And I know that that piece of advice is set in the optimistic future, one I know we're all heading towards. And while many campuses are closed right now to visitors, I trust that you will be able to tour soon before you have to start making, real decisions, at least for our underclassmen. I always advise families to check out small, medium, and large colleges that are close to their house. You can tour a public institution and a private one. If you can, see how your student responds to an urban, suburban, and rural campus. These are very broad categories that can help you narrow the focus later on, especially if your student is looking at schools outside of the local area. Here in the Los Angeles area, for example, a family could visit UCLA in busy Westwood, explore Occidental, a small private liberal arts college tucked away in a quieter LA neighborhood, and check out USC to get the feel for an urban campus. No matter where you are in the country, you can check out campuses that are representative of others. And your family, and specifically your student, can start to hear the lingo, so that by the time your student is older and having to make more decisions, they've been exposed to enough of the basics and the verbiage to know that if they want, they can double major at most campuses. That if your student is interested in starting a new club, that's something that is so doable on most colleges' campuses out there. Um, and your student will also get a sense that pretty much every college puts out a summer inventory list to help students pair up with future roommates. So if you start, checking out a few college tours early, your student will, know what to expect even more so when they are looking at in a more concentrated effort in their upperclassmen years. So 11th and 12th grade, this is really when the college conversations and search process can ramp up. Your student will be older, wiser, and ready for the increased level of self-reflection that is key to the college search process. If we return to our three key criteria that admissions officers are looking for, that's rigor, good grades, and passionate involvement. These are the years when all of these need to come together to create the strongest application possible. The level of rigor and grades in their coursework these last 2 years are going to be very important, and it's key to show an upward trajectory in both. If your student had a rocky start in ninth grade, perhaps, but is learning better study habits, increasing organizational skills, and getting better grades, the admissions officers will take note. They will see those positive increases on their report card as a sign that your student is better equipped now to handle the academic challenges of college coursework. 11th to 12th grade can also be the time to show increased levels of commitment, involvement, and leadership in extracurriculars and summer activities. Hopefully, those foundational years of exploring have allowed your student to find a few passions they can find meaning and purpose in pursuing. I promise you that colleges are not looking for your student to present a huge list of unrelated activities. Instead, they want students to demonstrate passionate, sustained involvement in a few extracurriculars. And these activities can be inside or outside of school, and they can go way beyond the traditional list involving hobbies, work opportunities, and even family responsibilities. I would also certainly encourage for you to strive to have your student have a sense of balance between schoolwork and activities, as that's going to be a crucial life skill once students are on their own in college and have to manage their own time much more intensely than they did in high school. Speaking of which, you ultimately want to prepare your students to thrive wherever they enroll. And this is one of my favorite quotes from Rick Clark, who's director of undergraduate admissions at Georgia Tech and co-author of The Truth About College Admission. Rick Clark says, "Parents love their kids, but your job as parent isn't to get your kid into a certain school. Your job is to prepare them for wherever they go. Build the foundation, not just academically. Wherever they land, you want them to be successful." Which brings me to this very simple yet powerful exercise you can encourage your student to do so they can understand why they want to go to college. And this gem of a fill in the blank exercise is also from Rick Clark. And you can read more about his insistence that students understand why they want to go to college in the book that I mentioned earlier, and that I will have a screenshot of before we leave tonight. As you can see, the responses to this fill in the blank exercise are going to be unique to every student. The student needs to ask, I want to go to college in order to, what do they want to do? I like to be around people who, can you give some adjectives of about what kind of people really spark your interest? I'm at my best when, what are you doing? How are you feeling when you're at your best? So I'd like to attend a college that offers me the opportunity to, again, fill in the blank. When I graduate, I hope and the last one, it doesn't have to be a specific career goal that your student has in mind. It can be broad. It can be, I hope I'll be a better listener, a more critical thinker. I actually had my own daughter do this activity before writing her counselors and teachers whom she was asking for letters of recommendation. She used her answers to these statements to communicate to her teachers and counselors why she was interested in going to college. That provides them with the information that they can use when writing their letters of recommendation. Ultimately, when a student can articulate why they want to go to college, they are much, much more likely to have a more focused approach during the college application process. And once they get to college, they'll hopefully be ready to take advantage of all the opportunities presented. There's a lot of research that shows that it's not so much where you go to college, but what you do when you get there. And those students who know their specific whys of going to college are going to be the students who feel confident taking advantage of all the opportunities available. A key to helping your student understand why they want to go to college is to make sure you're taking the time to get to know your student. As Richard Weisburd, who is family director of Harvard's Making Caring Common project, explains, in a way, the college admissions process is the only rite of passage we have. It's an incredible time to get to know your kid better, to really help your child dig into what matters to them, and for you to really pause and listen and to help guide and scaffold that conversation. As you're guiding and scaffolding that conversation, however, I want to make sure that you also don't talk about the college application process too much. I'll never forget the first time I heard Maria Furtado, who is a director at Colleges That Change Lives, speak about trying to make a rule about not talking to your kid about colleges whenever you're in the car, for example. The kid hears the car door lock, and they know that they are now trapped into a college conversation because every time the parent and student are together, that's what mom or dad wants to talk about. You can make that similar statement about sitting down to dinner together. Decide as a family when you're going to have the conversations, schedule them in, and do the work during those times. If your student fears that you're going to ask them about college at any hour of the day, it can really lead to a lot of burnout. Take it from me, I have personally taken that route with my own kids, and I've suffered the consequences of some early burnout because I was so excited to talk about the process. So I highly encourage you to schedule that in so your student knows when to expect that they will need to engage with you about the college conversation. Also, it's key to make sure that younger siblings, particularly if they are close in age, are not dragged into the college discussion every time as well. That just makes their application process that much lengthier. Along the way, I think it's always important to keep in mind that there is not one formula to achieving success in the college application process. In one of his latest blog posts, Rick Clark explains, on college admissions panels and during presentations, people inevitably ask me what we are looking for. In most cases, I think they expect us to rattle off some kind of formula that includes 5 AP classes, at least one award in the junior year, and sustained volunteer work. The truth is, admissions officers are looking for applicants who have been good students inside and outside the classroom. Simply put, they want to admit and enroll people who will be deeply missed by their school and community when they graduate. High school is truly a time for students to develop their authentic interests as they begin to figure out who they are and who they want to become. I want to conclude tonight with a snapshot of 3 of my favorite books that I always recommend to parents. I've shared a lot of wisdom and perspective from these authors tonight as they have personally shaped my own approach to helping guide families along the journey to higher education. So if you'd like to read more, I would highly suggest picking up 1, 2, or 3 of or all of these books. I want to thank you so much for attending this workshop. If you'd like to learn more about me and my services, check out my website, atcollegeconsulting.com. There you can view my resources page with other workshops that I've recorded in the past and schedule a complimentary 45-minute consultation where we can discuss how I can help you and your family with the college application process. I have comprehensive packages as well as a la carte and hourly options for students in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, and I would be delighted to help with your individual needs. Please stay well and reach out with any questions. Thank you so much.